Good morning, Mayfair, and happy Mother's Day to all our moms, both here in the assembly and those worshiping with us online. Today's the last day of our spiritual discipline series, and what a blessing the study has been. And today's topic is rest. I live a frenzied, chaotic life, and I make little time for rest. So I might be the least qualified person to discuss this topic. In fact, when I shared this with my family, they looked at me and said, "You?" So to rest and unplug, my family knows they have to get me away to escape the rat race because there's always something else to get done. Now, I admit my shortcomings with this spiritual discipline, and I recognize the negative impact it can have on my life when I'm unrested. I can be inefficient, disorganized, I'm oftentimes irritable and temperamental, and I find myself susceptible to temptation. The discipline of rest is introduced at the outset of Scripture and carried forward throughout the Bible. In the creation account, we read that God rested on day 7. God implemented a Sabbath rest for His people in the Old Testament. And as we come to the Gospels, we see multiple examples of Jesus withdrawing from the crowds and making time to rest despite His hectic, fast-paced life during His 3 years of ministry. I see at least 3 specific patterns of rest for Jesus. First of all, He withdrew with His disciples, which I equate to meeting together as our church family to escape the world. Secondly, He withdrew with His besties, Peter, James, and John, which I see as a calling for us to create dedicated time with our family. And thirdly, He withdrew in solitude, which was one of our recent discipline studies. And that allowed time for Him to have intimate, isolated time with God. I like what David said in Psalm 23. He said, "He makes me lie down in green pastures, and He restores my soul." I need to be more intentional to implement this spiritual discipline of rest to realize its full impact for my soul.